Hey, man. All right, so big announcement. Maybe not a big announcement. Well, it won't be a big announcement when I'm done explaining it. But we're no longer a prepper channel, or we're no longer exclusively a prepper channel. And I realized I needed to mention this. Actually, I've thought for a while I should probably talk about it, and I have talked about it some in the past, but I've never explicitly said that there's been a major shift in my thinking. Got a comment recently from Mike Johnson. By the way, guys, if you put comments on, and I'm going to use the name, if I mention your comment, I'm going to use the name that you put in the comment section, because that's already public on YouTube. So if that's not okay with you, maybe in your comment mention that, or maybe use a screen name you are comfortable with. But I'm assuming if you make a comment under a name, that's a name that you're putting out there public. So anyway, a guy named Mike Johnson made a comment on the 7.62 by 39 video. We've got this video that in the past has been our more popular one, about why I don't think the 7.62 by 39 millimeter is a good choice for. I talked about preppers, and I get a lot of negative comments on that video. Some of it deservedly because of what I'm about to talk about. Because I talked about everything from I used the prepper phrase and the prepper terminology, and I hadn't yet had this thinking shift that I've had in recent months about the general militia and being a member of the general militia. Which would incorporate prepping. Prepping would be a smaller subset of that. But the idea of the general militia is that every able-bodied man is responsible for the freedom and safety and security of his home, and for helping support his neighbors in the freedom and security of their home. There's a reason why our founding fathers didn't want there to be a standing army or a strong federal government in this country, and part of it was because they wanted individual men to stand up and take those responsibilities and secure those freedoms, because they knew that's the only way you can secure those freedoms. Anyway, so my point being, and in that video I talked about all the reasons why I didn't think it was a good choice for preppers. And you know what? I was wrong. It is a good, if all you think of prepping as being is one family unit storing as much stuff as they possibly can to get through whatever emergency might affect them locally right there, the 7.62 by 39 is a very viable choice. I still don't think it's the right choice, but it's a very viable choice, and I couldn't really argue against it. What I hadn't completely wrapped my mind around back at that time was this general militia concept, where every man has to be provisioned not only for his family to survive for a certain amount of time, he has to be provisioned and equipped in order to function for some extended period of time as this member of the general militia, if there's a need for the general militia to coalesce and go face a common threat. You need some kind of 782 gear, Minuteman loadout that a lot of guys call it. You need a rifle, you need ammunition. You need to be able to integrate in some form and fashion through training and provisioning in with the general militia. And from that standpoint, the 5.56 and the AR-15 is the only round that makes sense. Now this video is not about that whole 7.62 by 5.56 debate, although I probably will tag the video just to get extra views. Sorry, clickbait. Apologize. But my point is that going forward, everything I do is going to be from the standpoint of this general militia, that the man has an obligation to God, to his family, to his neighbors, to be a part of this general militia. And I really want to focus a lot of time on promoting that idea, because it's not, I know it's out there, people talk about it, but it's not being done. And I know from talking to you guys and listening to the comments, or reading the comments and interacting with you guys, I know there's a lot of guys out there that want this to be a reality, that they want this to be true. And they're even functioning in their own lives like it is, but that's why they feel like they're preppers, because it's just in their little tiny, their own little sphere of influence. And I really want to blow that out. Not that I'm anybody who, I've got 5,000 subscribers and I'm very thankful for everyone, but we don't have the giant platform that some people do. But that's still going to be a lot of the focus for me going forward here, and what we do with our group, which has dwindled down to depressingly small numbers. Probably mostly my fault. I let that happen, and I need to try to start putting it back together. We still got the prepper librarian. Love you, librarian. Yeah, I really want to promote this whole idea of the general militia and men structuring a lot of their not their lives, but that having been one of their main functions, to the point where, you know, in the old days, the general militia would drill once a month in the town square. When some of the general militia showed up for the revolution, George Washington almost had them shot. He was so mad that he almost had some guys from, I think it was Maine or Maryland or somewhere. I think it was Maine. No, that was Massachusetts. Somewhere way up north. He almost had them court-martialed and shot because they showed up improperly equipped. They didn't have rifles or ammunition. They just kind of showed up and said, "Hey, we're here to fight." And he's like, "Who are you going to fight? You're useless to me." He literally was so mad he almost they had to talk him out of, maybe it was whipping them, maybe it wasn't shooting them, but I mean, he was like livid. This was such an integral part, an intrinsic part of being a man back then, that George Washington was going to whip these men or shoot them one because they had failed to live up to it. So, you know, if you ever go watch that old 7.62 by 39 video, every time you hear the word prepper, substitute in your mind in the word militia, general militia, and that video makes a lot more sense. And as you see this shift going forward in our videos, and you should have already probably noticed it, you know, an effective member of the general militia would be a prepper, but he would be so much more than a prepper, and there would be this community aspect to it that everyone talks about, but none of us know how to make it happen, and I don't know how to make it happen other than to just talk about it like everyone else does. But there you go. So I guess that's what I wanted to say today is first off, just to get a video made, because I haven't had a chance to get one made in a while, and we've got some coming up. I finally got my carry license. If you're still listening at this point, it won't. You'll watch the next video anyway. It won't ruin it for you. I got my carry license. We're going to start talking about that a lot, and as I kind of figure out how I'm going to carry and what all that's going to look like, and try to do this thing I've never done before. So we've got some more videos coming up, but we're going to have about that type of stuff. We're going to really talk a lot more about how I try to develop this idea of how I'm going to be a part of the general militia, what my gear is going to look like, what my training is going to look like, how I'm going to reach out to other men. We're still going to do the homesteading and stuff, and yeah, I'm always excited when Mariah does her videos. I know there's more of those coming, but there's really been a sharpening, a focusing of my thinking lately, where the prepping just doesn't go far enough. There's this next level we need to get to, where we're not just, you know, preparing to hunker down in our homes, but we're preparing to go out and really impose. I don't want to say impose our will, because then someone will start freaking out. But well, let's just stick with the safe terminology: secure freedom and peace and prosperity for our families and our neighbors and our children and our grandchildren and our grandchildren's grandchildren, just like our forefathers did for us. I'm getting spun up. I could talk about this for hours. We appreciate you, men. Have a good day.